Yeah.
He loved this dooryard, this home. This is where he always lived. This was always home. No matter where her jobs took her or they lived, this was always home.
This was home.
This was always home. And he always stayed. When she was on her jobs, he always stayed here with us. And he just, when we lived in the little house, it was home.
Yeah.
She said, what more precious rock could you give him than one from home?
So when someone hikes with that stone, and they're going to take that up and they're going to hike with it, what do they need to know about Jason? What do they need to be thinking about? The kind of guy he was.
That he loved family home.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so
Loved his
deep.
family.
He was perceptive.
He loved his home.
Panoramic.
Yeah, what does that mean? I've read that about Jason before. Panoramic.
He had such a wide view of
He had everything.
life.
Doesn't
I'm in a
it?
tunnel. You know, I see things in a tunnel. He saw the big picture.
Always.
Down the road.
He was always chasing another rainbow.
He was very panoramic.
There was always another hill to climb.
Right.
To see what was on the other side.
Yeah.
Now never be.
They had to read the book before he judged the cover. You know what I'm trying to
He
say
didn't
about
prejudge.
No.
No.
Wow.
Anything, not just people, but
Yeah, situations. Yeah.
he
Wow.
see it and tasted it and smelled it and breathed it.
Wow.
And then, yeah, he was wicked. I don't know, wicked, always smart.
He was a people person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He liked to meet people.
And he never met a stranger. Because he would.
They wouldn't be a stranger
He'd pick right
for
out.
2 seconds. Yeah.
That's the way
Yeah.
it was. He never, he always.
In Augusta, how many cars and
We
trucks?
had a mile
They
over a
were, they
mile
said it was over a mile.
training.
Unbelievable.
The paper guide writers told me that of all the people
Big guy.
they had brought home,
Right.
that they have never and never will ever forget the turnout in this small town and all the way up through for Jason.
Mm-hmm.
When we-
Sidewalks were lined from
When we
Silver.
left Augusta down there that day, said that if anybody wanted to stop anywhere on the ride, they had the big Cadillac car there that's got the flag all over it. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Well, they would give them a ride. They could get off the bike. So just being a smart ass, I said, well, nobody's gonna quit because this is for Jason.
Right.
So we got as far as what? Solon. And it was sunny all
About
the
10
way out
miles
through. And then it started pouring down rain. I mean, bucket pouring like this was.
Right.
A little bit ago.
Yep.
And the guy I was riding with, Don, he says, do you want to get in the car? And I said, no way are we going to quit. I said, you just keep going. So it was just, and I said, you know what? I said, I just could tell you right now that Jason is laughing. He's relaxed right off right now. Everybody's doing this and we're all getting that because it would tickle him to death.
Right.
And it would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty humble too, you know, right?
I just loved it.
You want to get the best of you,
If
too.
he thought he could get, do a little trick like that and everybody would get wet, he'd think it was funny.
He was doing a trick, all right.
Oh yeah, he tricked us.
Talk about him being a protector again, Gail. I like that.
Yeah.
His role as a guardian.
Calvin Cates, little fellow he went to school with, has a Williams disease. It's kind of a
Mental.
retardation
Okay.
type deal. Well, kids like to pick on him.
Right.
It's kindergarten and all that. Jason didn't have it. This kid went under his wing, stayed under his wing. until
Right.
They graduated. Jason didn't graduate high school
Right.
there. But, I mean, he always just very protective of anybody. I don't know, it's just no underdog would stand alone if Jason.
He rooted for the underdog, you told me.
Always.
Why do you think he did that?
I don't know. I try to teach both my boys. I'm not saying it comes from me. My mother taught me the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't ever look down on anybody. You try to help everybody.
Mm.
You know, if you got a biscuit and they're hungry, you give them at least half.
Mm.
And Jason would do that. He'd
Mm.
take your shirt off his back and give it to you.
Yeah.
He had manners. And he could be an asshole, too.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I call him an asshole every day. I would. A moron. And we fought. We was fire and ice.
And he didn't care who it was. If anybody was picking on somebody smaller,
Yeah.
bigger,
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
he
was on
thought
it.
they needed. He didn't wait. He was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
he told his girlfriend when he was over in Iraq at the time, like calling me and all that, and he said, well, it's really hard to talk to Mom on the phone. And I don't want her to know what it's really like over here and all that. He had this on tape. She had it on tape, actually. They corresponded back and forth. She might have listened to this particular piece of the tape. And you could hear the bullets popping and all that. He's talking to her on his tape. And he said, well, it's really, I have to tell her things are all good. And they really aren't. He said, sometimes I have to sit and wonder, what am I doing? But, he says, most of the time I'm all right with it. He says, I just don't want her to know how really bad it is. I mean, that's his way of thinking, and I didn't know that he was in a war zone.
Sure.
He's over there playing peanuts or something.
Right.
But he always protected me, too, very much.
He protected your feelings.
Everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just physical protection.
Emotional
Protection, too. That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
He did.
One of those ways that he was a protector, a guardian, was the story about Logan in school.
Yeah.
You tell me that again?
Yep.
Logan's his brother.
Logan's his little brother.
Yep.
He was in school, and he had a tendency to put things in his mouth.
Imagine that.
So he had a bottle cap from a water bottle, plastic cap, and it had gotten stuck in his throat, and he was chewing on it. And it scared him off. Well, they did get it, out and all that, but he was scared and shook up. And I was working, and couldn't get a hold of me. His father was in the woods, and they couldn't get a hold of him because he's a scared man.
Yep.
And they called his brother, and Jason, of course, went right down.
Come to the rescue.
Come to the rescue and comforted Logan. He was just a little boy. He was very shook up. He thought he was going to die and all this and that. And it's one of the things that Logan will always remember is his big brother coming to his rescue and comforting him, taking the fear from him.
So that story played out with his cousin Brandon, too. You told me when they got lost in the woods.
They got lost out.
How did that one play out?
Very good. Brandon would start crying and all that, and Jason would just talk him down, say, Brandon, we can't have time for crying. We have to get out here and get home so that, we won't get in trouble and all that.
Yeah.
And he did. Brandon was just little. He was in kindergarten. They walked him, I don't know, it was probably a good mile before they got out.
Is that right?
Somebody found him,
And then the third one from that same theme of protector, guardian, take charge, was you told me the story about when they would play around or horseplay and the cops would show up. What did Brandon do first thing? I mean, yeah, Jason, what did he do?
Yeah, he would just take right over. He'd stand up and walk right up to the cops and talk to them and smooth everything all out. And next thing you know, the cops are driving off and Jason's sauntering on back. Everything's all good.
No problem.
No problems. He had a way with words. He had a way with people.
Right.
He used it. He was good at it.
Yeah.
If you didn't know Jason, you missed out.
So that's right, because someone's going to hike the stone up, and that's what we're trying to do is remember who Jason is. And when someone touches that stone and grabs it, they need to know something about him, right? So what other things are we missing right now to describe the man that he was and the son that you had?
He likes to play jokes on people.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Even little, when he was small. I remember we went and took him to Acadia. I took him to Acadia when I went with my other daughter and her 3 kids.
Yep.
We went over to the Joe Holes, that place down there where the water would spread up on you.
Oh yeah, Thunder Hole.
Thunder Hole.
Yep,
That's
yep.
where we went. And he was over there and he'd been watching it for a few minutes and then all at once he went over there and he said, Heather! She said, what? He said, come here, look over here, look down there. So she got over there and had her face down about like that and he timed it. He was watching it, and I didn't know what he was up to. So she went over, Heather went over, and Brandon come over, and Ben, he was the littlest one. He came, but he didn't get there in time, and that thing just washed up all over her. And he just laid right down and hung onto his belly and just laughed and roared. My daughter was so mad at him, and Heather was just wrenched right down. She had a little face just like that, and that just, he thought that was so funny.
Yeah, but Lucille, what about when that sometimes he was the victim of this prank when the turkey got him.
Yeah, but then he was little.
I know.
Yeah. The
What
other-
happened with that one?
He didn't think that was funny. At all.
We'll tell the story.
But then you just, if he was the type of a kid that you couldn't say, don't do that.
Yep.
Because if you said, don't do that, he's gonna do it.
What do you do?
He just goes, okay, now like that, went like that with that turkey to get him. And when he did, it just whacked right onto him and he wouldn't let go.
Right.
And oh my God, he howled and howled and howled. It was awful. Poor baby.
He learned his lesson on that one.
No.
But he was a curious
No.
guy. He did not learn his, yeah, because that never stopped.
No.
Curiosity did not stop.
Never.
No. He always explored, like you said, he was always turning the corner, exploring, flipping the stones, yeah.
Don't wanna miss a thing.
Right. Panoramic, like you said, yeah.
Yeah. He loved the outdoors, he loved people, he loved food.
Right.
Yeah.
He did not like his purple jogging suit, though.
No, he did not.
That was not a
He
favorite
did
thing.
not like that.
He had to make a fashion
He
statement.
liked the, yeah, he did. He liked the dress. He liked his bling bling, his nice clothes.
That's right.
He was sharp. Yeah.
What about when he came to Bangor on his 2 weeks off? He wanted to go fishing, and I like the funny story where his friend played a prank on you about coming home on the plane.
Oh, yeah, he made sure he was the last one off the plane because he knew that I'd be out there waiting for him on the other side of security like a crazy person.
Bangor International Airport.
Yes. So he told this other fellow in uniform that was on the same plane as him to tell me that he had missed his flight. And he was the last one off. I waited.
He was coming in on the next one.
On the next flight.
On the next flight.
You were just
Beside myself.
beside
We
yourself.
were all standing there waiting.
I was waiting to black, and then here he comes. His little picket hat. I saw him coming. I wanted to get him, but all I could do, of course, was love on him when he got
Of course. And then you threw him a party on this 2 weeks off.
Oh yeah, he had
Big
a hell of a
party. Yeah.
Good turnout.
Good turnout. You treated him like a hero. I mean, he is a hero.
He was a hero.
Yep.
He was a hero.
Coming home, you had a parade.
He had a really good time at the party. Everybody was there, his family, his friends. It's a last minute thing, but it worked out real well.
Okay, a couple more things I want to talk about, Gail. What were the 4 words that he would always write on a letter when he wrote home?
Strength, honor, loyalty, and courage.
Yeah.
Were his words he lived by. Breathed it, he lived it, he just believed in being a soldier,
Yeah.
standing up for America, and
Yeah.
he just was a soldier true to the core.
Right.
He loved it.
And he wrote those on every letter that he
Yeah.
wrote home.
Yeah, he did.
Every single letter.
Every letter I looked
Those words meant something to
Just
him.
lived for that.
And he lived by those words too.
He did.
Believed in it.
And you told me too that what his leadership saw in him, his leaders, his colonels, right?
Yeah, his Colonel Pinkerton told me that Jason was a perfect soldier.
Yeah.
And he said that he's not saying it lightly, but if he could say it, Jason was a perfect soldier.
Right.
He would have gone far in the military.
And Jason wanted to go far too.
Yeah, he did. He would have been a lifer. I know that. He
Yeah.
stayed in, retired,
Yeah.
probably never. I don't know.
Sure.
They kicked him out, you know.
Till they kicked him
He
out.
liked it.
Yeah.
This is when he came, got off the plane, the last one. That's his little brother right there with him.
There you
Well,
go.
he hates that picture, but that's my favorite.
Look at that's it. Well, you got a Red Sox shirt on, so there you
They're
go.
both so happy.
You're in uniform. Look at the smile though on Jason's face. He's a happy man right there.
They were very, then he
He's
said,
big,
yeah. he-
beaming. Yeah.
His feet never touched the ground. He was just,
Shh. Right.
He said to Logan that day, he said, I don't know what you're thinking, but he says, you gotta stop growing.
Is that what he's? The one thing that I think is interesting about Jason, in terms of military lifestyle, he wasn't quite a morning person.
no.
No.
Not growing up here, he wasn't. And
And
I
he
guess
wasn't-
over there he
no,
wasn't either.
Maddie said he was terrible,
Yeah.
but he.
What's the story about him not being a morning person?
He walked on eggshells until Jason spoke. He was grumpy.
You don't say, hi, good morning, Jason, you just They didn't they?
He had his coffee, he was happy boy.
You needed a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee, wake up.
That took him a while.
But what about in the military morning formations?
I imagine they had to deal with it, not me. I don't know how that ran. I imagine they made a man out of him.
But there were a couple that he didn't quite make it to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
When he was in boot camp,
right,
we went to his graduation, he graduated in Oklahoma,
right.
in Fort Sill. Gail and I and Jason's girlfriend went out for that graduation. And he was telling us about this guy. He said, kept making fun of me for 3 weeks. He says this guy would get on my ass every minute. And this guy was like 7 feet tall, that big tall guy. And he said, just because he's bigger, because he was taller than Jason even, this guy.
Yep.
And he'd say something about Moscow, Maine. Now where is that? And what kind of a time is that? And he said, this guy just rolled my ass, he said, for 3 weeks. And then he said he come over and started laughing and told me that he was from Farmington, Maine, but he was just pulling my chain to see how far he could go. And that's one time somebody got the best of Jason.
Oh,
Because he had no idea that guy was from Maine.
really?
One of his sergeants, that would just, Jason couldn't say nothing back to him and would say things about Moscow and stuff. He didn't know him well.
Yeah.
They were friends afterwards, but Jason just laughed it off after, he thought about it. He thought it was real funny because this guy never went on.
That's right.
Farmington, Maine or anything.
And it was hard to get the better of Jason too. Yeah, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. All right, last thing. He had a loyalty to a particular sports team.
Boston Red Sox.
And yes, tell me about that.
Through and through. He loved baseball. He loved sports.
Yep.
Basketball and baseball. But the Red Sox come from his great-great-grandfather.
Wow.
I mean, it come all the way down through my grandmother, my mom,
Yep.
my father. All of us have always loved the Red Sox.
Yep.
We've always watched them.
Listen to him on the radio.
Yeah, radio.
Yep. Yep.
My grandpa.
Something to cheer for.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we all hate the Yankees.
Oh yeah.